I think it's just life. I think everything evolves. I think everything updates. And that's just what we're seeing with the game. It's a lot more skill involved than it was, years back. It's a lot more free flow within the game. Just the way you approach the game is so more open-minded than it was, back in the day. I remember growing up as a kid, if you were over 6'5", you automatically got put in the post. You know what I mean? So, it's just a different time, different era, and, it's not always a bad thing. So, I think with everything comes change, and the game of basketball is just another example of that.
In terms of like, if you're right at playing the Aaron window and
well, the way I'm wired and the way I'm set up, I feel like I can dominate any area. I'm very confident in my abilities. I'm confident in my work ethic. I'm confident in the commitment that I've had towards my craft. So, I feel like any area I played in, I would have stuck out. So, that's just me and how I'm wired.
Speaking of era, you got to experience the pre-load management era where guys were practicing, going at it, and then the load management era. What's your thoughts on that?
Honestly, personally, I prefer the non-load management era. And the reason I say that, me experiencing both sides of that, I feel like I was in better shape with the non-load management compared to, once we started experiencing that. And I'm a firm believer in, whatever you train the body to do, it'll follow. And so, I feel like the more high intensity training, the more stress you put on your body gets used to it. Your body's then able to withstand it. But, once you start to kind of treat it with sensitivity and care, it kind of adapts to that as well. So, I don't really think it's any right answer because, obviously when it comes to science, it can prove a lot more than, feeling or emotion. But, I think it's a right and wrong answer on both sides. So I think it more so pertains to the individual and what works best for that individual.
Yeah. When you play, like, build a ball back to back, when you can back get ready to do a lot differently and then kind of like make it out. What a guy now will play back.
Like I said, back then, like, it wasn't even really a thing you thought about, just something you were prepared for. Back-to-backs were a common thing. It was high expectations, even when it came to back-to-backs. And like I said, it's just in the era now where it's a little more, everything's kind of handled with a lot more care. So, back-to-back is almost looked upon as a bad thing. But, I don't know. It's kind of, I just take it as an individual type of thing. Some people can handle it, some can't. And there's no knock to anybody who can or can't. So, I think it's more based upon the individual these days.
DeMarcus, I gotta ask. It's New Orleans first. You see guys, Daniels, Brandon Ingram, all these guys. You don't even, like, what's going on there, man?
I got a lot of love for New Orleans. I'm a Mobile kid. I'm right down the street from New Orleans. So I got a lot of love for New Orleans and it'll remain that way. But as far as, that organization, and I don't know what it is when it comes to just staying healthy in that city, but it's a really, I'm not going to even say the city. I'm going to say that organization. I don't know what it is. I actually had a conversation with a guy when I was there. He was a ball boy and he's worked his way up to a coaching position. So I reached out to him after the DeJounte Murray injury. And I literally said the exact thing y'all are saying to me. I was like, bro, the city, like, it's cursed here, bro. Like, it's something going on. It don't make no sense. And, for me to go through my Achilles and now watch another guy go through his Achilles in the same organization, it's hard not to think that way. But, I don't know. There's definitely something going on.
Just to follow that up, like, when you see Purpose's organization, is it like higher up or just training or just feel like owning,
Well, I could say from my experience, it was, we were always the step kid to the New Orleans Saints. It's an ownership group that owns both. But, New Orleans they're very prideful about their Saints. I've experienced that. I've seen that, growing up in that region. So, I know how much love they have for their Saints and, being, being a young organization and you're trying to compete with a team like the Saints, it's hard for the Pelicans to do. So, I think they always be treated like a step to it.
Yeah, jumping in, we played with Sacramento too, and then this year when we're being fired and you're talking and saying, like, you played at the moment, you got all things. What are you going about this week?
Now I get a lot of heat for, speaking my opinion about the Kings or whatnot. But, I just try to be as honest and truthful as I can through my own experience, and just watching how things are handled, now that I'm away from that. But, I think De'Aaron Fox is a very special talent. I think Sack is, lucky and blessed enough to, get that talent. I think he did some things there that, a lot of people didn't think would be possible, that team reaching the playoffs again. So, I think that staples him as, a legendary, Kings player. But, I felt like once they reached that moment, I don't think they thought past that. And it kind of showed. I think the standard was set low, which was just making the playoffs. And, I think that city, those fans, I think they deserve a lot more. It's a passionate city. It's a passionate fan base. They stick it through thick and thin, win or loss, good or bad. And that's rare to come across in, sports. Because, it's an up and down thing. But, I know firsthand how much those fans, care about their team. So, that's just my opinion. I think they, achieved what they wanted to achieve and they didn't really look past that. And, it's kind of shown.
Marcus, I gotta ask, watching that whole life of being era and going through what you went through just with the ownership, and then just it felt like almost the media villainizing you, even though you were doing something that Sacramento hadn't experienced in terms of a superstar. There's a player really trying to put the city on his back. How was it just kind of like looking at that from the outside, and did you feel good? It seemed to also kind of feel like hurt that like they embraced that team while they didn't embrace you.
What, the team that made the playoffs?
Yeah, well, like the media or the fan base, how they put this recent team up on a pedestal, but like I felt like you didn't get the praise that you did when you kind of laid the foundation.
I mean, you only get praise for success, and that's just how sports work. It doesn't make me feel any type of way for nothing. The next thing, I mean, like I said earlier, De'Aaron Fox did something that hadn't been done in a long time, and that, with that franchise. So he deserves his flowers. He deserves all the credit in the world. So, but I don't look at it like that at all. I had my opportunity. Obviously I wish things could have been done differently. I definitely was passionate about winning. I was passionate about trying to be that player to help Sacramento get back to that, that standard that they were used to, which was being a playoff team. But, it just didn't work out that way for me. And, that's how life works sometimes. Things don't always align for me. But, it's no ill will for me, or I don't frown upon the next team or the next guy that reaches success. I feel like when you carry that type of energy, it blocks your next blessing. So, that's not how I carry myself. But, it just is what it is. I can't harp on it. It's the past. I do wish things could have been better because I was really passionate about winning. I do think I received a narrative that wasn't me. And, that could be easily confused between a passionate guy and a losing situation. So I get it and I understand, but, it just sucks that I ended up with a narrative that I don't think I necessarily deserve. I've always carried myself as a winning player. I've won my entire, basketball career. Everywhere I've gone, I've won outside of Sacramento. And that's, it's just what it is. But, I'm more so disappointed in the narrative compared to, my intention and how I emotionally felt about the city. But, it is what it is. Maybe one day that narrative will straighten itself out. So
I'm going to follow that up. Michael Malone being fired, kind of similar to what happened with Mike Brown this year. Like, Mike Brown, and Doug Christie coming in and helped his team, but do you think that comes back to ownership has a bigger part in a team's success, how they handle certain situations like the Mike Brown, Mike Malone would be there?
I just don't think the average fan or average person realizes how much responsibility these organizations have. Like, you know, when you see the sport, you see how much players make and things of that nature. Responsibility automatically falls on the player's shoulders, but we're not the guys putting the team together. We're not the guys signing players. We're not the guys hiring coaches. We're not the guys making decisions on everyday team basis. We have one job, which is to go out and compete, and the results are the results. But what's around us, what we're supplied with those things is just not our responsibility. But it's hard to, it's hard to see that on the outside looking in. But, it's a lot of responsibility these organizations have. And they come up short on. And it happens more so than it doesn't. And, it's a reason the same type franchises are the ones that keep winning. It's rare that you see, this brand new franchise, not a brand new franchise, but it's rare that, a Cleveland or a OKC or these smaller type organizations get that shine because it's more so bad ones than good ones. But, I think that's something that gets overlooked in sports a lot. For instance, if it was just based on talent, the Cleveland Browns would be a Super Bowl team. You know what I'm saying? As much as they lose, as much top talent as they get on a yearly basis, they still can't find success. Yeah. And it goes to show you it's not just about drafting the best player, it's about making talent mesh. And if the people at the top can't make that happen, it won't be, it's a puzzle. Yeah. Everything's a puzzle. Yeah. You know what I mean? And if it's one piece that's off, it messes up the entire puzzle.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's talking about franchise. What are your initial thoughts on the Luka Cousins?
Yeah, you played with Anthony, bro. You were traded to be Anthony's running back.
Yeah, I don't think this is about Anthony or anybody like that. And I hate that AD is even in the crossfire of this. Any hate or anything going his way, I don't think he deserves it. He's a very, very talented player. How, a guy that's in his prime, when a later stage of his career gets matched up with a guy that's basically it makes no sense. You know what I mean? So I'm just as confused as the next person. Like, honestly, like, it doesn't make sense. Like, and when you look at it from the perspective of each organization, each team, like, obviously the Lakers are going to move forward. Once this LeBron era is over, you automatically go into the Luka era. That's great for the Lakers. It's great for the NBA. It's great for ratings. It's great for business. As far as AD and Kyrie, like, it's been well documented that these guys have wanted to be teammates in the past. I do think they're a good combination of, at the 1-2 punch. But it's also later in their career. So, do I think the Mavericks, got better? I don't think they got better, but I don't think they got worse. If that makes sense. But it's more about the trajectory of the timeline and where these guys are in their career and how the swap happened. It just doesn't make sense. So, I don't know. I think this is a story we gotta kind of wait and see how it plays out. See what happens from there. Hopefully it's a method to the madness. So
we're also trying to figure out where were you when you got to the clean or
I was actually overseas. I was in Dubai. And my basketball trainer texted me, was sending me a message. He was like, "Is this real?" And it was a Facebook post or the Luka trainer. And I'm like, dude, it's Facebook, bro. Probably not. Like, the text me, he's like, "Nah, I think this is real." I'm like, come on. Like, so now I start, I hop on Twitter. I'm like, oh shit, this is real. So now I'm like, whoa, what happened? Like, how did this, and it's all the same questions everybody else has. How did this happen? Like, how was this okay? Like, all the same questions.
Well, this is a big thing of life. Like, all North American.
I would say, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you think nothing. I'm sure there's a lot of politics behind. It's not like a total player value within the trade.
We're talking about a kid that's He's been in the league, what, 5 years now?
Luka?
6, 5, 6, something like that. Yes, 5 all in the league.
Yeah, already. Right. That's unheard of.
And it's not, second team, third team. It's all first team. Like,
Right. Great.
it's kind of unheard of. Yeah.
You good at that? Huh? Oh, yeah. I want to talk about real quick. What's your thoughts on Wemby? Is he a cheat code in terms of like what he's able to do? And do you think people are ever going to be able to adjust?
I don't know how you would adjust. Like, I mean, I think this, it's almost like a LeBron where you're blessed with these physical gifts at birth. You know what I mean? He's a physical specimen. I mean, from the height to the coordination to the fluidness to the touch. There's just a lot of physical gift there that, it's massive. So as far as adjusting, I don't know what those adjustments would be, but I mean.
Yeah, one of my last questions is, you're now kind of like in the influencing space, doing podcasting. If you could choose anyone, player, celebrity, comedian, who would be the ideal or your dream podcast host? They could be dead or alive.
I'll probably say Nipsey. Nipsey also. Reason I say that, one we relate to, I'm big on guys coming from the opposite end of the spectrum and, preaching knowledge, teaching the youth, pushing positivity, regardless of your background, regardless of your upbringing, still pushing, the correct message. So I'm big on that. I'm big on learning from the mistakes. I'm big on not letting the next person make the same mistakes you did. I'm big on the, big brotherhood, OGs, things of that nature. You need a lot more of that, especially in my community. And, just having, role models and figures that, push the correct message that people actually look up to. So, that's probably so long.
I like that. My last question to Marcus is, if you could do a Freaky Friday with any NBA player.
What is it? What's a Freaky Friday?
Freaky Friday, switch lives. Like, you guys, you switch lives and you have to spend a week in another person's body. What NBA player would you choose to have to switch lives or bodies with?
I don't know. I've never been able to jump high, so I'd probably pick a player that jumps really high just to see what it's like. Probably like a John Moran. I was never a fast runner either, so I see what it feels like to run fast and jump high. So, yeah.
I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that one. You ever seen the movie Freaky Friday or the Lil Dicky song? Freaky Friday? I'm not gonna sing it, but like. Let's go. Hey, man. So, we're going to start this off with, can you just tell us a little bit what you're doing with Panini this weekend?
Say that again?
Tell us what you're doing with Panini this weekend here.
Here doing, some autograph signing some cool cards, creating some one-on-one cards in the back. So a lot of cool things. Dope event. Panini always puts on awesome events, especially around All-Stars. So, been part of the team for a decade plus now. So, honored to be a part of it, but, just Panini doing what it does.
And how does it feel to see yourself on the trading card now over 10 years doing that?
Man, it's cool, man. And it's crazy because as a kid, you kind of grow up collecting different types of cards and you kind of idolize these figures that are on these cards. So to now be in the position of that, I'm never in a million years thought, I would be in that position. So, it's always awesome to see, no matter how many times I see it, it still has that shock value to it. So, always a really dope feeling.
What's your favorite moment with him that you really think it was?
Man, I would probably say my rookie season coming into it. Excited to see my face on the card and then, getting right to work afterwards. It was kind of, a quick moment to celebrate a goal, and then with that goal comes the business right after. So, it was a quick lesson in that. And, like I said, first seeing it for the first time was cool, but then getting to work and